definitely divisible. Hi, welcome to T1 Academy. In our last session, we have finished our profit and loss concept. So today in this session, we are going to start discussing about the ratios and proportions. So as I have already told you, these three concepts, percentages, ratio and proportions, these two are mostly the basics for some other concepts. See, if you see the percentage concept, we are going to use that percentage in profit and loss, simple interest, compound interest and some other areas. When it comes to this ratio and proportions, we will use this ratio and proportions in our partnership case. We are going to use this in ages. We are going to use the same thing in our DI also. So this ratio and proportions is very, very important for us. This is one of the basic concept which we should know definitely. By learning this concept, we can easily solve the questions from partnerships, averages, ages, all those things we can easily solve them. Okay, now we will see the concepts of this ratios. Right? Now, what is this ratios? See here, to express any two numbers, if I want to hide the values, I will use the word, this one, that is ratio. That means, for example, if I want to express or if I want to tell the relation between two persons without telling exactly their values, then I can say that two numbers are in the ratio of 2:3. I don't want to reveal their number or exact value, but I want to tell the relation between them. Then I can take the help of ratios as well as percentages. Okay, but in our case, ratios, if I say that two numbers are in the ratio of 2:3, it can be any value, but person A and B, if A is to B is some 2:3. If person A is of two parts, B will become how many parts? 3 parts. But we don't know the exact value. It can be 2, 3, 4, 6, 200, 300, 2000, 3000 or 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, whatever it may be. But the relation between them will be in 2:3 ratio. 2:3 ratio. That means, see here, ratio is strictly a mathematical term to compare two similar quantities expressed in the same units. That means I cannot compare two different quantities. Okay, definitely I can compare only the similar quantities and then only I can tell my ratio between two persons. See, similar quantities and different quantities means, see here, if there is income of a person, I can write the ratio between the incomes of two persons. But I cannot write the ratio between income of one person and the savings of the second person. So either I can write the ratio between their incomes or I can write the ratio between their savings. But I cannot write a combined ratio of income and savings. That is the meaning of this similar quantities. Similar quantities in the sense I can only write the relation between the similar quantities, not two different quantities. Understood? That is the regarding these ratios. Now next, the same thing. In general, the ratio of two quantities A and B is written in the form of A:B. We all know it in general. And we read it as A:B. The two quantities A and B are called terms of the ratio. First quantity A is called as antecedent or first term, and the second quantity B is called as consequent or the second term. Okay, consequent or the second term. Now example, in a mathematical class, there are 16 boys and 20 girls. Find the ratio of number of boys to the number of girls. This is my question here. So what happens here? Boys is to girls. How many boys are there for me? 16 boys. And how many girls are there for me? 20. Okay, so that means cancel them. 4:5. With what table I have cancelled here? 4 table. With 4 table, 4:5. Now please observe here, students. When it comes to these ratios, we should know some of the basic concepts like this. See here, ratios, we should understand some important properties of these ratios. What are those important properties means? First and foremost thing, ratios will be always in a simplified form. That means the ratio should be always in a simplified form. For example, if I have something like this, some 20:40. I can cancel it with 2 table. I will write it as 10:20. Right? See here, students, I can further simplify it, right? Why? Because I can further cancel with 5 table. 5 2s, 5 4s, and next 2 1s, 2 4s. Sorry, 2 2s. So at last what I can write the answer as 1:2. So the ratio should be, whenever you write ratio between two numbers, it should be always in a simplified form. I cannot leave, sir, 20 is to 40 is also equal to 10 is to 20. Why I cannot write? No, you cannot write this one. Why? Because we should write in the most simplified form as our answer. Always, while you are writing the answer, definitely it should be most simplified form. In some cases, we only make it in different matters. That is secondary. But in general, ratio should be in the most simplified form for us. Okay, good. Ratio should be in most simplified form. That is one property for us. Next one, the second property of this is, we can multiply or divide a constant to any ratio. Okay, based on our requirement, in some cases we will multiply or divide a constant to our ratio. For example, see here, I have a ratio something in this manner, 2:3. 2:3. Now, what I can do is, if it is required, there will be some situations where we need to change the ratios. In that cases, we will sometimes multiply the things, sometimes we will divide the things. Okay, now multiply in the sense, if I multiply it with 2, for example, a constant 2, what happens to its value? 4:6. 4:6. Will the proportion or the ratio changes here? Anyway, if I further cancel it, it will come back to 2:3 only. 2:3 only, right? So, that means I can multiply anything to a ratio. There is no wrong in that. And similarly, I can divide anything to a ratio. For example, if there is something like this, 2:3, if I divide it with 3, what happens to this, students? If you observe carefully, this becomes 2/3:3/3. 2/3:3/3. So now, what happens to this value? 3 anyway will get cancelled, and finally we will get the same answer, 2:3. That means you can multiply or divide anything to a ratio. It will not affect our given portions. It will not affect our given relations. The relation between A and B remains the same, whether you multiply or divide any constant to a ratio. That means, based on our requirement, sometimes while solving the problems also, we are going to multiply or divide a constant to the given ratios. Okay, why? Because we will later do the same thing. So, this property we will apply there. Okay, we can multiply or divide a constant to any ratio based on the requirement. Based on the requirement, I can do that one. Okay, that is the next property. We can multiply or divide constant to any ratio. And next one, we cannot, remember this one, we cannot add or subtract a constant to a ratio. We cannot add or subtract. What is meant by this add or subtract means, see here, if I have something like this, 2:3, I cannot add a constant to them. That means I cannot say that I will add +1 to this and I will write it as 2 + 1 is 3 and 3 + 1 is 4. Now, can I restore it back to my original ratio? Is it possible? No, it is not possible. So, you cannot add or subtract, and similarly with subtraction also. You cannot add or subtract a constant to a ratio, but you can multiply or divide a constant to any given ratio. So, try to understand the difference between multiplication and this addition. We will not do the addition. And next observation is, while writing two ratios in the form of two numbers in the form of ratios, while writing two numbers in the form of ratios, we cancel them with their HCF. While discussing the LCM and HCF also, we came across these things, students. Okay, while discussing LCM and HCF also, we came across the same thing. So, while writing two numbers in the form of ratio, take for example, if I want to write the ratio between 15 and 18. If I want to write the ratio between 15 and 18, with what table I can cancel 15 and 18? With the 3 table. 3 5s, 3 6. So, that means what happens to its value? It becomes 5:6. But if you observe carefully, with what table I have cancelled it? With the number 3. If you observe carefully, 3 is the HCF of 15 and 18. 3 is the HCF of 15 and 18. For example, if there are two numbers something like this, 20 and 40. If I want to cancel 21s, 22s. So that means what I can write finally this value as 1:2. Now please observe what is 20 for 20 and 40. 20 is nothing but the HCF of 20 and 40. Okay, HCF of 20 and 40. So that means while writing two numbers in the form of ratios, we always cancel them with their what? With their HCF. That is the concept we have here. Okay, next at the same time, if you observe carefully, okay, while if any two numbers are in the ratio of some 3:4, right? If for example, if two numbers are in the ratio of 3:4, generally what we will do? Generally what we will do? We will write them as 3x and 4x, right? We will consider them as 3x and 4x. If you observe carefully, what about this x means? This x is nothing but the HCF. This x is nothing but the HCF of these two numbers. HCF of these two numbers. Okay, understood? So this x, that is the HCF. That is the HCF. Okay, next one. If two numbers are in the ratio of 3:4, then what we can call it as, this 3 we call it as 3 parts, and this 4 we call it as 4 parts. 3 parts and 4 parts. 3 parts and 4 parts. Now if you observe carefully, assume that the ratio between A is to B is 3:4. 3:4. If I want to write the value of A is how many parts in this total equation? A is 3 parts. Out of total, how many parts are there for me? 3 plus 4, 7 parts. 7 parts. A's portion will be equal to 3 parts out of 7 parts. So 3 and sum of these two is 7 parts. When it comes to B's portion will become what for me here? B is 4 parts out of total 7 parts. B is 4 parts out of total 7 parts. So A is 3 out of 7 parts and B is 4 out of 7 parts. In this manner, we are going to solve the problems and try to understand the things here. Okay, understood? Now, next, while solving the problems, if you observe carefully, we will come across certain things. What are those certain things means? Usually, the ratios will not be of the form P by Q. In general, the ratios will not be of the form P by Q, but what will happen for us in this case is, for example, if two numbers are in the ratio of some 1/2:1/3. 1/2:1/3. Then if I want to write it in the normal form, general form, instead of this P by Q form, so what I will do is, I will take the LCM of denominators. What is the LCM of 2 and 3 for me here? 6. And we have one property of this ratios, what? We can multiply a constant to a ratio. There is no wrong in that, it will not affect our ratio. So because of that reason, I will multiply this ratio with 6. I will multiply this ratio with 6. That means what happens to this? 1/2 into 6 is to 1/3 into 6. Okay. Now what happens to this? 3 and 2. So the ratio becomes what for me here? 3:2. The ratio here becomes 3:2. Both 1/2:3 or 3:2 both are same. There will be no difference between these two things. Understood? Generally, if you have anything in the form of P by Q, the ratios are in the form of P by Q, then what we are going to do is, we will take the LCM of denominators. And after taking the LCM of denominators, we will multiply it with the ratio. Why? Because we can multiply a constant to a ratio, it will not affect our given ratio. That is the thing which we have done here. Like this, we have some traditionally asked questions from these ratios. What are those means? Please see here. Duplicate ratio. Duplicate ratio means nothing but squares. That means if I want to write the duplicate ratio of some 2:3, then the duplicate ratio will become 2 square is to 3 square, which will become 4:9. Understood? Duplicate ratio means squaring of the ratios directly. Next, triplicate ratio means similarly cubing of the ratios. 2:3 if I want to write the triplicate ratio means 2 cube is to 3 cube. That will become what for me? 8:27. We call that as triplicate ratio. In some examinations, they may ask us directly from this area. Okay, just remember the values. Duplicate means x square and y square. Triplicate means x cube and y cube. Next, subduplicate means what? Square root of root x is to root y. For example, if I want to write the subduplicate ratio means take directly the square roots 1/2. And if it is subtriplicate means cubic root of x and y. So that means cubic root of root 2 is to cubic root of root 3. Cubic root of root 2 is to cubic root of root 3. Next, reciprocal means what? See here students, generally, just now I told you, whenever we see P by Q forms, what we will do is, we will multiply it with them with their LCM, right? What is the LCM of A and B? Generally AB. AB, right? So I will multiply this with AB. When I multiply this with AB, this A will get cancelled, this B will get cancelled, and we will be left with what? B is to A. So directly you can interchange the values. 1 by A is to 1 by 2. For example, if I have 1 by 2 is to 1 by 3, then I can directly write the value as 3 is to 2. But if in case I have 3 values, that means 1 by A is to 1 by B is to 1 by C, then don't take it in a reverse order. You will get wrong. So in that cases, take the LCM of denominators and multiply them individually, and then only you will get the answer. What actually happens for if I have 1 by A is to 1 by B is to 1 by C means BC is to AC is to BC, AB. BC is to AC is to AB we will have if I have 3 ratios, 1 by A is to 1 by B is to 1 by C. Okay. Now inverse ratio means simply reverse it. What is the inverse ratio of x is to y? Means it becomes y is to x, y is to x, y is to x. So these are the some of the standard things which you should know before solving the problems or any other things. Okay, understood? Next. Okay. Now in this ratios concept only, we have a concept called joining of the ratios. So what we will do in case of joining of ratios, we should know how we will join the ratios. How we generally join the ratios means, see here, for example, if I have A is to B as some 2 is to 3, and similarly if I have some B is to C as some 3 is to 4. Now please observe here students, whenever I want to join two ratios, the first basic rule is definitely they should have a common element. That means here B and here B I have, so I can join this ratio and I can write A is to B is to C. Value is secondary, but to join the ratios, definitely I should have a common element. For example, if I have something like this, A is to B is equal to some 3 is to 4 and C is to D is equal to some 6 is to 7. I can never join these two ratios. The reason is I don't have a common element between these two things. Here I have AB, here I have CD, but I don't have a common thing, so I cannot write A is to B is to C is to D, which is impossible for me. So to join two ratios, definitely we should have a common relation between them. And now see here, what is B portion here? 3, and what is B portion here? 3. So both are same values, so directly I can take 2 is to 3 is to 4. If the common element contains the same portion here and here 3 parts and here it is also 3 parts, right? So I can join it directly. I can join the ratios directly. But if I have different values, something like this, A is to B is equal to 2 is to 3 and B is to C is equal to some 4 is to 5. B is to C is equal to some 4 is to 5. In this case, I cannot join the ratios directly. First of all, I should make sure that B values should be equal. That means see here, what I have here actually A is to B is equal to 2 is to 3, good, superb. And B is to C, what they given for me, 4 is to 5. What is B value here? 3, and what is B value here? 4. To equal these two values, what I will do is, I will multiply this 3 here and I will multiply this 4 here. Understood? I can multiply a constant to any ratio, right? By taking the advantage of that one, I will do this one. So 2 in what happens to this? 4 2s are 8, 3 4s are 12. And next 3 4s are 12 and 3 5s are 15. Now if you observe carefully here, B value here is 12 parts and here it is also 12 parts. So now I can write A is to B is to C as 8 is to 12 is to 15. So before joining any two ratios, make sure that the common element value remains the same. If the common element value is same, then you can join them directly. Else you cannot join the ratios. And now sir, if this is the case, there is one more shortcut method for this one. Please observe this one. There are 3 elements for me, A, B and C. First of all, I want to clear you one thing, that I have not written them in the alphabetical order. I have written them in such a manner that the common element lies between them. Between A is to B is 2 is to 3 and B is to C is 4 is to 5. What is the common element for me here? B. Because of that reason, I am writing B in the middle. Remember this one carefully, students. Okay, why I am writing B in the middle means not because in alphabetical order. The reason is B is common element between. For example, if I have A is to C and C is to B, then I would have written C in the middle. Understood? Now, A is to B, what it is? 2 is to 3. Okay, good, superb. Next, B is to C, what it is? 4 is to 5. 4 is to 5. And now I have two empty spaces here and here. So, fill these empty spaces with the adjacent value. So, this will be 3 will come here and this 4 will go here and multiply them simply. So, 2 4s are 8, 3 4s are 12, 3 5s are 15. So, the ratio between A is to B is to C is 8 is to 12 is to 15. Okay. So, this is the traditional method and this is the shortcut method. Why I have told you the shortcut method means, for example, if I have 4 components, something like this. Let me erase this and I will show this one. For example, if I have 4 components, A is to B as some 2 is to 3, B is to C as some 4 is to 5 and C is to D something like this 6 is to 7. 6 is to 7. Now, I want A is to B is to C is to D, or if the question is I want A is to D. How I can find this one means, if you observe carefully here, if I go with the traditional method, what happens is first I need to equal B value, B's portion, next I will get ABC and next I need to equal C's portion and I will come A, B, C, D. But if you know the shortcut method, A, B is common, B and C are common, right? B and C are the bridges between them and D at the last. A is to B, what they given for me? 2 is to 3. B is to C, what they have given for me here? 4 is to 5. And C is to D, what they have given me? 6 and 7, right? Now write all those things. Now where I have the empty spaces, here I have empty space here, here and I have 2 empty space here. Fill them with the adjacent values. For this there is no adjacent, so first fill this. So I will write 3 here and the same 3 will come here. So 5 will come here and 4 will go here. For this there is no adjacent, so first fill this one, 6 will come here and 6 will go here. So now please observe 2 4s are 12, 12 6s are 72. Meanwhile, if anything is cancelable, consider them as a team. If anything is cancelable, you can cancel it meanwhile. Or else, sir, why we need to make complicated means, first of all calculate them and then later also you can cancel it. There is no problem. Either you can cancel them as a team now itself, 3 here, 3 here, 3 here and 3 will get cancelled here. You can cancel that. Or else at last also you can do 2 4s are 8, 8 6 are 48, 3 4s are 12, 12 6 are 72, 3 5s are 15, 15 6 are 90. Next, 3 5s are 15, 15 7s are 105. If you observe carefully, I can cancel everything with 3 table. 3 16s, 3 24s, 3 30s and 3 35s. Can I cancel them with any other number? No, I cannot cancel all of them with once again with any other common number. So, 16 is to 24 is to 30 is to 35. And remember one more thing, students. If you want to write A, B, C, D, you cannot cancel them with a common number. So, you cannot. So, don't say that, sir, I will cancel 16 and 24 with 4 table. It is not like that. You cannot cancel them if they are in the same group. For example, if the question is, what is the ratio between A is to C? A is to C. Now you can take them individually. So, A is 16 parts and C is 30 parts, right? Now you can cancel it. Now you can cancel them. Why? Because you have only 2 components here in 2 table, 8 is to 15. I can write this as 8 is to 15. But if they are in the same ratio, you should not cancel it. Until and unless if they are completely cancelable. That means all the numbers are cancelable, then only cancel it. Else you cannot cancel them. Understood? If you take any 2 specific values, then take out them and then can cancel. Now see here 16 is to 35. A is to D means what? 16 is to 35. Can I cancel them? No, I cannot cancel them. Why? Because 16 and 35 are co-primes for me here. So we cannot do anything. We will write the same thing as A is to D. So in this manner, you need to join the ratios. While joining the ratios, 2 things you should keep in your mind. The first one is definitely there should be a common element, then only we can join them. And the second thing is While joining the ratios, the common element value should be same. Then you can join them. Or else if you use the shortcut method, you need not to look about all those things, directly simply follow the process and get the answer for you. And remember, the common element should be there in the middle. The common element should be there in the middle, right? Proportion. What we call, or which numbers we call in proportion. We see here, if you go to any photo studio, in general, what we will have on the board, we will have different sizes of photos, right, on the display. They will have different sizes. They will mention us the sizes in the below that. What they will say is 2 by 4. That means 2 inch into 3 inch or 2 centimeter into 4 centimeter. That will be the size of the photograph. And similarly, you will have something like this 4 by 8. 4 by 8, something like this. Different sizes he will mention on the display sheet. Now, if you observe carefully on that, the same element, right? The same size, whether it is on the same content will remain same. The same photograph, it will be changed from these dimensions to these dimensions. Take for example our video only. Few people will watch it in mobile phone. Few people will watch it on the computer screen. So the content remains the same. That means the value, whatever the portion which you can see on the screen with the total screen, it remains the same. But the alignment, it will change based on the view on which we are working. So that means what I can say is, these two things are proportion to each other. Proportion means what it means. See here, if I further cancel it, it becomes what, 2:4 only, right? So I can say that this is proportion with this one. Proportion means they are not physically equal, but by appearance they will be equal. Physical dimensions will not be equal, but they will be in the same proportion. That means length and breadth proportion will be there, right? That remains the same. That remains same. So such type of ratios we call them are in proportion. In proportion. In physical quantity they are not equal, but proportion wise they are equal. But proportion wise they are equal. So we call them as proportional to each other. For example, if I say that if two ratios are in proportion, usually it will be indicated with this symbol. This symbol is nothing but the proportional symbol. Proportional symbol, in other terms we call, in terms of ratios, we call it as equal. We call it as equal. So what I will write here, A by B is equal to C by D. This proportionality symbol, I can write this as equal to. Okay. When I write in this manner, what happens here for me? A into D is equal to B into C. A into D is equal to B into C. A into D is equal to B into C for me here. Okay, understood? So the same thing I have written here. In general, ratios of A and B is equal to the ratio of C and D means proportion. Ratios, how the ratios can be equal? Ratios are not even the physical quantities. They are just the representation of a physical quantities. How they can become equal means nothing but they are in the same proportion. Okay, they is represented is with this symbol. Okay, 4 quantities and the first, second, third, fourth are terms respectively. The first and fourth are known as extremes. See, A and B are at the extreme ends, so we call them as extremes, and B and C we call them as means in general. Okay, the same thing, known as middle terms or means, and A is to B. So therefore, what I can write, just now I have written, right, A into D is equal to B into C, AD is equal to BC, that the product of means is equal to product of extremes. Product of means is equal to product. Here D is called the fourth proportional and D is equal to. If I want to write D here, what I can do? I will send A to the other side. So what happens to D value for me here? BC by A. D value becomes what for me here? BC by A. Okay, just a proportional symbol, nothing more than that. Okay, so what happens for us is in the examinations is in general, here there are 4 terms, right? A, B, C and D. Okay, here we call this A as first proportional, B as second proportional, C as third proportional, and D as fourth proportional. So we will have different questions based on this. What is this first proportional, second proportional, third proportional and fourth proportional means? Based on the context, it will change. For example, they will ask a question. Find the fourth proportional of 2, 3, 4. Find the fourth proportional of 2, 3, 4. That's it. They will not mention any other thing. So you should understand by default that 2 is the first, 3 is second, and 4 is the third one. 2 is the first, 3 is second, and this fourth is third, and we need to find the fourth proportion. That means how you will write means 2:3 is proportional with 4:A. We need to find that A. We know that product of extremes is equal to product of means. That means what I can write, or else if you don't know that concept also, 2/3 is equal to 4/A. 2/3 is equal to 4/A. So simply cross multiply it, what you will get here, 2 into A is equal to 3 into 4. 2 ones, 2 twos, so A value will become what, 6. So the fourth proportional for this is 6. Like this. In some questions they will say that find the third proportional of 2:3:4. 2, 3, 4. If they want you to find the third proportional of 2, 3, 4 means how you will write means indirectly he is mentioning that he skipped the third one. He skipped the third one. So how you will write equation, 2:3 proportional with A:4. Why? Because in question he clearly mentioned that he asked us to find the third proportional. Then you will write the equation in this manner, 2:3 proportional with A:4. A:4. That means in the place of third term I will put A. In the place of third term I will put A and I will calculate it, product of extremes. And similarly they may ask us what is the first proportional of 2, 3, 4. First proportional of 2, 3, 4 means what? Indirectly is skipped the first one. So directly what I will write, A:2 proportional with 3:4. A:2 proportional with 3:4. So based on the questions we will shuffle the things. We will shuffle the things. Always they will give you them in an order. So whatever the value which they ask you to find, they will skip that one value. That's it. Nothing more than that. And next in this one only, we will have one more proportion that is called as mean proportion. What is this mean proportion and under which context we will come across that mean proportion means, see here, when they ask you about the mean proportion, usually proportion means usually how the ratios will be there means A:B proportional with B:C. A:B proportional with B:C. That means the middle terms will be equal. The middle terms will be equal. In this case what we can say is B square is equal to AC, right? B square is equal to AC. So this B we called as mean proportion. So B value will become root over AC. This B is called as mean proportion. Okay, understood? Apart from this first, second, third and fourth, we will have one more proportion, that is mean proportion. Mean proportion is nothing but if the middle terms are equal, then how I can write my equation, A:B is proportional with B:C, then this B will be called as mean proportion. Product of extremes is equal to product of means. Now in general how the question will be asked from this one is, what is the mean proportion of 4 and 9? What is the mean proportion of 4 and 9? That is the question. That means you should understand that the equation is something like this. 4:A is proportional with A:9. 4:A is proportional with A:9. You should understand. Mean proportion means definitely the middle terms will be equal. So now what happens to this one? 4 into 9 is equal to A square. So A value will become what for me here? 6. A value becomes 6. So the mean proportion means nothing but the middle terms will be equal. In that case we call them as mean proportion. So now understood first proportion, second proportion, third proportion, fourth proportion and mean proportion, right? So these are the proportional based questions. Not only this, we will have some other cases where we will use these proportional relations and all those things. Okay, understood? Now we will move to the next one. The same thing, mean proportional. If three quantities A, B, C are in the continued proportion, then A:B is equal to B:C. Just now I told you, right? Instead of proportional. Therefore, AC is equal to B square. B is called the mean proportional. B is called the mean proportional for us here. B is called the mean proportional for us. The same thing we have written. Find X to complete the proportion. One of that questions. 2:5 is equal to 6:X. We know that product of means is equal to product of extremes. So what you will write? 2 into X is equal to 5 into 6. So 2 ones, 2 threes. So X value becomes what for me here? 15. And similarly here also Product of means is equal to product of extremes. So 16 into 35, that is extremes, is equal to product of middle terms is 20 into x. 20 into x. 4 table, 4 4s are, 4 5s are. Next 5 1s are, 5 7s are. So x value what I will get here? 28. So x value I will get here is 28. Okay. Like this we are going to find the proportional values. So now in this session we will see the problems from the concept. Okay. Now we will see. See here, if 40% of a number is equal to 2/3 of another number, what is the ratio of the first number to the second number? Okay, what they are telling is 40% of a number. That means assume it as A. 40% of A is equal to 2/3 of B. That is the relation they given for us. 40% of A is equal to 2/3 of B. 40% means what I can write? 2 by 5, right? If you know it, good. If not, also no need to worry. Generally, write 40%. If you want to write in terms of fraction, what you will do? Into A, that is equal to 2 by 3 into B. So now what happens this one? 2 by 5. And next 2 will get cancelled here. So I will send B to this side and 5 to this side. So what happens to this? A by B will become what for me here? 5 by 3. A by B becomes what for me here? 5 by 3. So A by B is equal to 5 is to 3. A is to B is equal to 5 is to 3. First number is to second number. Okay, next one. Rupees 15,500 divided into 3 parts proportional to 1 by 2 is to 1 by 3 is to 1 by 5 are respectively. I need to divide in what ratio? 1 by 2 is to 1 by 3 is to 1 by 5 here. Already we discussed. Whenever we have in the form of P by Q, what we will do? We will take the LCM of denominators and multiply with the ratio. So what is LCM of 2, 3 and 5 we have here? All the 3 are prime numbers, so their product will become their LCM. So here the LCM becomes 2 3s are 6, 6 5s are 30. Why? Because all the 3 numbers are prime numbers here. So I will multiply 30 to this all numbers. So 1 by 2 into 30 is to 1 by 3 into 30 is to 1 by 5 into 30. So what happens to me now? It becomes 15 is to 10 is to 6. So 15 is to 10 is to 6. Now what they are asking us is divided. What are the 3 parts? What are the 3 parts? So when it comes to first part, what it becomes? Or else total number of parts is how many? You can do like that also. Total number of parts are how many here? 21, right? Sorry, not 21, 31. 31 parts is equal to what here? 15500. 31 parts is equal to 15500. So one part becomes what for me here? So one part becomes what? 31 parts is equal to 15500. One part will become 15500 by 31. So 31 ones, 31 5s is 155 and 0. So one part value becomes what for me here? 500. One part is 500. So 15 parts means 15 into 5, 7500. Next 10 parts means 10 into 5, 5000. Next 6 into 5, 3000. 6 into 5, 3000. Right? So 7500, 5000 and 3000. So option A is correct for me here. Option A is correct one for me. Or else, sir, we don't know these parts and all these things, means go with the traditional one. 15 parts out of total how many parts? 31 into 15,500. So like this also you will get the same answer. By solving all the values you will get the same answer, 7500, 5000 and 3000. But go with this one, 31 parts and 1 part. This is very simple for us. Next one. The ratio of expense and savings of a person are 26 is to 3. If your monthly income is some 14,500, what is the monthly savings? Now see here, what is the relation between income, expenses and savings? Income is equal to expenditure plus savings, right? Expenditure plus savings. Income is equal to expenditure plus savings, right? So that means what happens to my income here? In the question, the expense and savings are in what ratio? Expenditure is 26 parts and savings is 3 parts. 26 is to 3 means 3 parts. Now tell me what will be his income? What will be his income? 29 parts. His income becomes what? 29 parts. his income becomes 29 parts. So according to the question, his monthly income is what? 14,500. That means 29 parts is equal to 14,500. 29 parts is equal to 14,500. His monthly savings. Monthly savings are how many parts? 3 parts. 3 parts is equal to how much? 3 parts is equal to how much? Cross multiplied, consider this as x or something and cross multiplied, or else if you are really good, you can cancel it here directly. 29 ones to 29 500s. So similarly here also multiply with 500. So what happens to his savings? His savings here becomes 1500. So the answer is 1500, or else take it as x and simply cross multiply it, you will get the same answer. Next one. The monthly income of A and B is 6,000 and 8,000 respectively. If their expenses are 70% and 80% respectively, find the ratio of savings of both. See here students, what happens to their income? Income are 6,000 and 8,000 are their incomes. Okay, if their expenses are 70% and 80%, but they are asking us the savings. If 70% is expenses, what about his savings? His expense savings will be 30% of this one, right? And similarly, if 80% is his expenses, what will be his savings? 20% of this one. Please be careful. Here they given us the expenses ratio and they are asking us to find the relation between the savings. They given us the relation for expenses, but they are asking us the savings. So what is 30% of 600? 10% is 600. 30% will become what? 1800. Right? Next, what is 10% here? 800. 20% means what it becomes? 1600. Now the ratio between these two things. What will happen here? Two zeros get cancels. Here it is 9 and here it is 8. So the ratio between them becomes what for me here? 9:8. So the ratio of their savings is 9:8. 9:8. Okay. Next one. A money is divided into A, B and C in the ratio 3:5:7. If C's share is 1600 more than A's share, then B's share is. Now see here, A, B and C are in what ratio? 3:5:7 for us here. A, B and C are in the ratio of 3:5:7. That means 3 parts, 5 parts and 7 parts. See students, difference in ratios will be equal to difference in their values. Okay, why? Because how we will write these ratios? Based on the values only, right? Based on values only we are going to write this ratio. So difference in ratios will be equal to difference in their values. So now tell me, C's share is 1600 more than that of A's share, right? C's share is 1600 more than that of A's share. Now tell me, what is the difference between C's portion and A's portion here? The difference between C and A is 4 parts. Am I correct? 4 parts. This is 3 parts and this is 7 parts, means the difference between A and C is here 4 parts, which is equal to 1600 according to the given question. Which is equal to 1600 according to the given question. And now they are asking us, what is B's share? What is B's share? You can find 1 part and you can apply, or directly also you can. B's share is how many parts here? 5 parts. So 5 parts will become what for me here? I don't know. Let us assume it as some x or something. If you are really good, please observe this one. 4 into 400 is what? 1600. Similarly, 5 into 400 becomes what for me here? 2000. So B's share will become what for me here? 2000. 2000. If you observe it, well and good. If not, take this as x and cross multiply it. Anyway, you will get the same answer. And find the value of x. You will get the same answer. Okay. Next one. Okay, joining of ratios. Already in our first video, we have seen how to join the ratios. No need to think much about that one. We will see next. A sum of money is distributed among A, B and C such that B gets 12.5 more than A but 25% more than C. If A and C is 1500, the difference of A and C is. Now see here students. Here they given us the relations. We will take the help of joining of ratios. Sir, how we can apply the joining of ratios concept to this one means, please observe here. They given us the relations here. B gets 12.5 more than A, right? B gets 12.5 more than 8. So that means, please observe here, 12.5% is equal to what? 1 by 8. 12.5% is equal to what? 1 by 8. While discussing the profit and loss and percentage, we came across these type of things. Now tell me, what is the relation between A and B from this? 12.5 is 1 by 8, right? So B gets 12.5 more than means, now see here, if I take A value as 8, what happens to my B value? What happens to my B value? Can I write it as 9? Am I correct or not? Which we are done in our profit and loss and percentage, we came across these type of things. I will give you the explanation for this. B gets 12.5 more than, right? That means B is equal to A plus 12.5% of A. Am I correct? B is equal to A plus 12. So A plus, what is 12.5 percentage? 1 by 8 of A. Yes, we all know it very well. Now next, what happens to this? 9A by 8, that is equal to B. B is equal to 9A by 8. Okay, good. Now what happens to A by B? I will send B to this side and this 9 by 8 to that side, will become what? 8 by 9. So that means the relation between A and B is what? 8:9. The same thing I have written here. We applied that concept, our percentage concept. Please try to recollect. If one value is greater than the other one by 12.5 percentage increases, where we use the same concept. So here 12.5 is 1 by 8. So that means A and B relation, what I can write? A is 8 parts and B is 9 parts. If you want the explanation, the reason behind that is, this is the reason. If you are able to identify this, well and good. If not, go with the basics and write the relation between A and B. And next, but see, 25% more than D, about whom they are telling the same B. B gets 12.5% more than A, but 25% more than C. That means 25% means what I can write? 1 by 4. Now tell me, what is the relation between B and C? If C is some 4 parts, B will become how many parts? 5 parts. Am I correct? If B is some 4 parts, C is some 4 parts, B will become 5 parts. Why? Because B is 25% more than C. 25% means what I can write? 1 by 4. So if C is 4 parts, B becomes 5 parts. Similarly, how we have done here, the same thing. Now please observe here, A, B and C. A is to B is what? 8:9. Okay, good. B is to C is what? 5:4. That is also fine. Now please observe, I will write 9 here and I will write 5 here. Joining of ratios. In our first video, we discussed about this. So 8 5s are 40, 9 5s are 45, 9 4s are 36. So they should be divided in what ratio? 40:45:36. Okay, good. Now the question is, if A and C is rupees 1500, the difference of A and C is, okay. The sum of A and C is given as 5700. Sum of A and C. If A and C gets 1500, means A and C sum is 5700. They are asking us what is the difference of A and C. What is the sum of A and C in this, according to this one? 76 parts, right? 76 parts is equal to 5700. And the difference of A and C is how many parts? 4 parts. 4 parts is equal to what? 4 parts is equal to what? That is the question which we have. If A and C is 5700, okay, we will see. So 4 table, when you will get 19 times is this one, right? Or else 76 divided by 19 is 4. Similarly, try to divide this with 19. What you will get? 5700 by 19 means you will get here 300. Or else take x and try to calculate it. Anyway, both the things are same. Okay, see here students, 76 to 4 means divided by 4, 19, right? 76 divided by 19 is 4. Similarly, 5700 divided by 19 becomes 300. If you identify that, okay, else consider it as x and try to get. Why? Because they given us the sum of A and C, that is 5700, and they are asking us the difference between A and C. Understood? So you should understand this relation. If you were once able to understand this one, this concept 1 by 8 and 1 by 4, while discussing the percentage, we came across this one, students. If you don't have the idea, then go with the basic procedure. I have told you, right, B gets 12.5%. So similarly, B is equal to what they are telling? B is getting 25% more than C. So C plus 25% of C. So what happens to this? C plus 25% means what? 1 by 4 of C. So B value becomes what for me here? 5 by 4 of C. Now B by C becomes what? 5 by 4. Same thing, right? B and C, 5:4. So everything, percentage, ratio and proportions, all these are interlinked with each other. Okay, this is the case. Next one. A sum of money is distributed among A, B and C such that B gets 10% less than A, Now the same concept. See here, B is getting 10% less, right? So 10% means what? 1 by 10. In earlier case it is greater, so I have added. Now A and B relation, what I will get? If A is 10 parts, B will be how many parts? 9 parts. Why? Because B is getting 10% less than A. If it is more than, like our previous case, see here, in the previous case it is more than, so I have written 8 for A and 9 for B. Here it is less, so I will take it as A as 10 and B as 9. Next, but 20% less than C. Okay, the same B is getting 20% less than C. 20% means what? 1 by 5. 20% is what? 1 by 5. That means B and C. If C is some 5 parts, now B value will become how much? 4 parts. Why? Because lesser. If it is more means I would have written B as 6. But here it is lesser, so I have written it as 4 parts. So A, B has 10 and 9, B and C has 4 and 5. See, please go and watch the percentage, then you will have a clear idea why I am writing 10 and 9 and 4 and 5. From that one, next, D gets 33 1 by 3. See, this is 33 1 by 3% more than C. D gets 33 1 by 3% more than C means 33 1 by 3%. What it is equal to? 1 by 3. That means, what is the relation between D and C? What is the relation between D and C? If C is some 3 parts, D will become how many parts? 4 parts. Why? Because more. So now we have all the 3 ratios. A is to B I have, B is to C I have, D is to C. Now I will try to join the ratios. Please observe here carefully. A, B, C and D. A, B, C and D. A is to B, what it is? 10 and 9. B is to C, what it is? 4 and 5. And please observe carefully, here I have written D is to C, but we want what? C is to D. C is to D is what? 3 is to 4. C is to D is equal to what? 3 is to 4. Now join the ratios. Here I have empty space, I will write 9. The same 9 will go here. Here I have empty space, I will write 5 here. Here I have empty space, I will write here 4. Here I have 3 and the same 3 will come here. As I have already told you, if you have anything common in these sections, try to cancel them here itself. Don't waste your time while cancelling some other times. So 3, 3, 3, here 3. It will get cancelled. Do we have any other choice? We don't have any other choice. We cannot further cancel the things here. Okay, so 10 4s are is what? 40. 9 4s are is 36. 9 5s are is 45. So 15 3s are, 5 3s are 15, 15 4s are 60. 15 4s are 60. So this is the final answer I have. Now, then find D is what percentage more than A? D is what percentage more than A? D is how many parts here? D is getting 60 parts and A is how many parts here? 40 parts. A is 40 parts and D is 60 parts. Now D is getting how much more than A? D is getting 20 more than A. So 20 is what percentage of 40 ma? 20 by 40 into 100. Very clearly we can say it is equal to 50%. Okay, so D is 50% more than A. D is 50% more than A. So if you know the relation between the percentage and these ratios and fractions, it becomes easy. Else it becomes a complicated question for us. Okay, understood? So directly I have written the relations with the help of percentage concept, that initial and final values we have, right? So next one. See here, a person distributes rupees 3000 to his daughter, wife and son in such a way that half part of daughter is 1/4 of his wife and 1/5 of his son is equal. Okay, half part of daughter, that means 1/2 of daughter is equal to 1/4 of wife is equal to 1/5 of son. This is the relation which we have. So the income will be in this ratio. Half portion of daughter will be equal to 1/4 of wife is equal to 1/5 of son. Now I will equate it with a constant k for understanding. Generally later I will tell you directly how to write these things, but generally we can take that is equal to some k now. Now what happens to daughter? Daughter relation will become 2k. Why? Because 1/2 is equal to k. D/2 is equal to k means D value will become what? 2k. And wife share will become what? 4k. And similarly son's share will become what? 5k. Okay. Now daughter is to wife is to son will become what? 2k is to 4k is to 5k. Anyway, k will get cancelled and they will be divided in the ratio 2 is to 4 is to 5. 2 is to 4 is to 5. So, whenever you see these type of things, directly you can write their inverse values here. See, in this case it is 1 by 2, 1 by 4 and 1 by 5. In some other case it can be 3 by 2, 4 by 2, something like this. In that cases what we will do is we will simply inverse them. So, 2 is to 4 is to 5. Directly you can write. Directly you can write. So, they should divide in what ratio? 2 is to 4 is to 5. Now, how much is the daughter's share? Daughter's share is how many parts? 2 parts. 2 parts out of total how many parts? 11 parts. So, 2 by 11 into, what is the amount they should distribute among themselves? 3,30,000. 3,30,000 is the amount they should distribute between themselves. So, 1 times 3,30,000. So, 2 into 30,000 it becomes what? 60,000. That means the daughter will get a share of 60,000. The daughter will get a share of 60,000 here. Okay, understood? Next one. Two numbers are in the ratio of 7 is to 13. When 24 is added, in each number, then the ratio becomes 11 is to 17. Okay, now see here, find the difference between both the initial numbers. Now please see here, we will see in the traditional method and the shortcut method. Both the values we will try to observe here. Now the two numbers are in the ratio of what? 7 is to 13. That means the two numbers becomes what for me here? 7a and 13a. Okay, 7a and 13a. Now 24 is added to both the numbers. That means what happens to this? 7a plus 24 and 13a plus 24. By adding this, the ratio became what? 11 is to 17. That means what I can write? 7a plus 24 by 13a plus 24. That becomes what for me here? 11 by 17. 11 by 17. Now cross multiply 17 sevens are what it becomes? 119a plus 24 into 17. Put like that only. It is waste of time in calculating. So I will write the same thing. So 13 into 11 what it becomes? 143a plus 24 into 11. 24 into 11. So now I will send this 119a to that side and 24 into 11 to this side. So it becomes 24 into 17 minus 24 into 11. That is equal to 143 minus 119. It becomes 24a. It becomes what? 24a for me here. Now 24 into 17 minus 24 into 17, what it becomes? 24 into 6. We all know. If I take 24 common, I will have 17 minus 11, it becomes what? 6. That is equal to 24a. Now a 24 and 24 get cancelled and a value you will get here is 6. A value is 6. So the initial numbers means what? 7 into 6 is 42 is one number and 13 into 6 it becomes what? 78. So the two numbers are what? 42 and 78, the initial numbers. The difference between these two numbers is how much? Or else directly the difference between these two numbers is 6a. 6a means it will becomes 36. 36. This is the traditional method to get the answer for this question. But it will take some time obviously. So instead of that, now we will see the general method. The ratio between two numbers is what? 7 is to 13. When a constant, when 24 is added to both the ratios, what it is becoming? The ratio is becoming 11 is to 17. Please observe here students, when a constant is added, definitely the change will be same. Okay, remember this one. So when a constant thing is added to both the ratios, the change from here to here, how many parts is the difference? 4 parts. If you observe here also, the same 4 parts difference is there. Why? Because we are adding a constant. From 7 it became 11, right? And from 13 also it became 17. So that means 4 parts change here, 4 parts change. So I can say directly that 4 parts is equal to 24. 4 parts is equal to 24. So 1 part will become what for me here? 1 part is 6. Now the difference between these two numbers is how much? 6 parts. 6 parts will become what for me here? 36. 6 part becomes what for me here? 36. So my answer is 36. So students, remember one thing, to any ratios, if you add a constant number, always they will change respectively. They will increase in the same manner, 4 parts here and 4 parts here. So directly I can take that this 4 parts is equal to 24. And in the question, no need to find the one part also even. There is no need to find one part. Directly, what is the difference means? Difference between 7 and 13 is how many parts? 6 parts. If 4 parts is 24, 6 parts becomes 36. Why? Because 4 6 are 24. Similarly, 6 6 are 36. Like this, you can get the answer directly. No need to do this, all these calculations and everything. Directly try to understand this concept. Next one. Please see here. The ratio of monthly incomes of Ram and Shyam is 9:8 and their monthly expenditures are in the ratio of 7:6. If each of them saves 8,000 per month, the sum of their monthly incomes is. Now, please observe this question. Same as usual, we will do it in the traditional method as well as the shortcut method. We will see the difference between both of them. The ratio of monthly incomes of Ram and Shyam are what? 9:8. Income are in the ratio 9:8. So, I can take their incomes are 9x and 8x. And when it comes to their monthly expenditure, they are in the ratio of 7:6. See here students, this is income and this is expenditure. Don't try to join these two things and don't write once again 7x and 6x. It is wrong. It is wrong. You cannot do it. This is some other expression. This will become 7y and 6y. Okay. Don't write once again 7x and 6x. That is completely wrong. Why? Because this is one component and this is another component. You cannot take both the same things. Now, they are telling that each saves 800, right? That means income minus expenditure is savings. How you will find the savings? Income minus expenditure. So, 9x minus 7y is equal to what? 8,000. And similarly, 8x minus 6y is equal to what? 8,000. Why? Because both are saving the same amount, that is 8,000. Now, you have two equations and they are asking us the monthly income side. For x we want. So, try to cancel y. How you can cancel the y? By multiplying this equation with 6 and multiplying this equation with 7. So that I can cancel these two things. Now, we will see. If I multiply this one, what I will get? 54x minus 42y, that is equal to 4800. And similarly, what happens to this? 56x minus 42y, that is equal to 5600. 5600. So, now I will subtract the top one from the bottom one. These two will get cancelled and I will have what? 2x is equal to what I will have here? 800. So, x value becomes what for me here? 400. X is 400. Then what happens to their incomes? Their incomes becomes 3600 and 3200. So, it becomes 6800. 6800. Okay. This is the traditional method of solving the problem. Okay. This takes a lot of work for us. Now, but for this what I need to do? How I need to solve this one? Means see here, incomes are in what ratio? 9:8. And when it comes to their expenditures, they are in the ratio of what? What are their ratio? 7:6. And both are saving the same amount, that is 8,000 here and 8,000 here. Both are saving the same amount, that is 8,000 each. Both are saving the same amount, 8,000 each here. Okay, I think some zeros are in excess here, students, or else, sorry, here you will get 48,000, 48,000, so zeros. So here you will get 36,000 and 32,000, so overall 68,000, that is fine. Now, in this type of cases, please observe here, please observe this one, 9, 7, 8 and 2, that is the same portion, 2 parts and 2 parts, that is 8,000, 2 parts and 2 parts, that is 8,000. Luckily here, the difference between these two is how many? 2 parts, and the difference between here is also 2 parts. Here is 2 parts and here is 2 parts. So that means we can directly take that these 2 parts is equal to 8,000. So one part becomes what for me here? One part becomes 4,000. One part is what? 4,000. Generally, it may be or may not be equal. I am telling you this one. It may be or may not be equal, but in general, we can make them equal. We will see that later. In this case, what? 9 minus 7, it is same. 8 minus 6, that is 2 parts. So both are 2 parts here and 2 parts here. So 2 parts is equal to what? 8,000. 2 parts is equal to what? 8,000. So easily I can say that 1 part is equal to 4,000. So if 1 part is 4,000, their complete income becomes what for me here? 9 plus 8 total is 17 parts. So 17 parts becomes what for me here? 68,000. 17 parts becomes what for us here? 68,000. So our answer is here is 68,000. Our answer here is 68,000. So please try to understand the difference between these two methods, students. If you go with the traditional method, you will get the answer, but it will take some time. But definitely you should know both the traditional and shortcut methods. If you are really good in solving from the basics or the traditional methods, then easily you can understand the shortcuts. Else, only learning the shortcuts, sometimes it may misfire. So that is the reason definitely you should know both the traditional and as well as the shortcut methods. Okay, next one we will see. 6 years ago, the ratio between the age of B's mother and B's age was 7:3. 8 years hence, the ratio of their ages will be what? 7:4, the present age of B is. See here students, we can apply the same concept here also. We can take the help of our ratio and proportions concept or else the general strategy. Okay, now see here, 6 years ago, what is happening? The ratio between them is what? 7:3. 6 years ago, the ratio between them is 7. Now next, 8 years hence. 8 years hence means from here to here, what is the difference? Tell me. From present, if you are going from 6 years back, and 8 years hence means forward. So the difference is here how much? 14 years. The difference is here how much? 14 years. Then the ratio became what? 7:4. Then the ratio became what? 7:4. That means actually from here to here, for both the people we are adding how many years? 14 years here and 14 years here. If you once go back to our previous problems, the last but one problem, please see here. If we add anything constant, definitely the difference in the ratios will be equal, I told you, right? But please observe here. Here both the ratios should be increased by what value? 14 and 14. 14 and 14. But please observe here. Here the difference is 0 and here the difference is 1. Here the difference is 0 and here the difference is 1. No, so now first of all we should equal the difference. Sir, how we can equal the difference? How we can equal the difference means, please observe here. The difference between these two is how much? 4. You should multiply that 4 to this one. And the difference between these two is how much? 3. You should multiply that 3 to this one. Understood? First of all, in both the cases, both were increased by what? 14 years and 14 years. But the difference is not same. So first of all, I will equate the difference. I will equal the difference. For that, what I have done? I have multiplied the difference between these two here and the difference between these two here. So now what happens to that? If I multiply, so new ratio will become what? 21:9. Okay, good, super. Next, this one will become what? 28:16. 28:16. Now observe here carefully, students. Now observe here carefully. What is happening? What is the difference between these two ratios? 7. What is the difference between these two ratios? 7. Now the differences became equal, right? And how this difference was came? Because of the addition of 14 here and 14 here. Why? Because both the person's age will increase simultaneously, right? So both the ages will be increased by 14 and 14. So that means what I can say here is 7 parts is equal to what? 14 years. 7 parts is equal to what? 14 years. Good, superb. But what is the question? What is the present age of B? That means I need to find the present age of this person. Present age of this person. You can do it in two different ways. First one is, what is this first ratio? This is 6 years back. What is this second one? 8 years after. So if I go from 6 years back and I can calculate, or go from, see here 7 parts is 14 means 1 part become what? 2 years. So that means 6 years back, B's age is how many parts? 9 parts. So 9 parts will become what for me here? 9 parts will become 18 years. But this 9 parts is when it is 6 years back. So present age means what? 18 plus 6, 24 years. 24 years. So B's age will become how much for me here? 24 years. Or else you can go with this value also. If one part is 2 years, 16 parts will become how much? 32 years. But when it is 32 years, 8 years after 8 years. So you should subtract 8 from 32, what you will get? The same 24. You can take either the help of this one or this one, but this is the concept. Please try to understand. Why? Because both the values should increase by what? 14 years and 14 years. If a value is increasing constantly, means definitely their difference should also be equal. But in this case, this difference is not equal. So first of all, I equal to the difference and then I solved the remaining things. Understood? Right? We have seen some of the problems from the ratio and proportions in that thing. So today we will continue the same thing from the same concept. Okay? Now see here, one more question. The ratio of milk to water, is 7:9. The ratio of milk to water is 7:9. If 27 liters of water is added, the ratio becomes 7:12. Then find the amount of milk in the mixture. That is the question. Okay, initially the ratio of milk to water is what given for us in the question. They said that the milk to water ratio is 7:9. Good, superb. Then after that, if 27 liters of water is added. Now please observe here students. Here we are only adding purely water. We are not at all adding anything milk with respect to milk. Now see here, then the ratio became what? 7:12. Then the ratio became what? 7:12 here. So please observe here students. Here the change will be there only in water, right? When it comes to milk portion, it remains the same. Luckily for us in this question, these two quantities are same by default. But in general, this will not happen. So if they are equal, no need to worry, we can solve it directly. Why? Because our water milk portion is same previously and now. Okay, no need to worry about the milk portion here. Here anyway both are 7 and 7. This thing will not happen with all the questions. Remember this one carefully. If they are not equal, first of all try to equal them and then solve the problems. But in this case, the milk portion is already equal, so no need to worry. Directly we will concentrate on this. Water portion changed from what portion to what portion? From 9 parts to 12 parts. Water changed from 9 parts to 12 parts. So what is the difference between these two? 3 parts. These 3 parts difference was because of what? 27 liters of water. So what I can say now? 3 parts is equal to 27 liters. 3 parts is equal to 21 liters. So now find the amount of milk in the mixture. I need to find the amount of milk in my mixture. If 3 parts is 27 liters, tell me what is 1 part? That is nothing but 3 into 9 is 27, right? So milk is how many parts here? 7 parts. Then 7 parts becomes what for me here? 7 into 9, which is equal to 63 liters. So the milk portion here is 63 liters. 63 liters. In this manner, we are going to solve the problems. Okay, if we go with the traditional method, see here students, each and every time why I am repeating the traditional method is, sometimes due to the difficulty of the problem, sometimes we may not apply our shortcut method or the any logic, something like this. Definitely in that cases, we should go with the traditional method. And one more thing, if you are really good in understanding the traditional method, then easily you can understand the shortcut, else it is not at all possible. For example, what we can do is, initial quantities are 7x and 9x. Now to this 7x and 9x, there is no change in milk quantity, but there is a change in water quantity. What it is? We are adding 27 liters of water. Then the ratio became what for me here? 7:12. Then the ratio became what? 7:12. So now when I cross multiply it, what I will get here? 84x is equal to 63x plus 27 sevens are what you will get? 140 plus 189. Okay, 49 it becomes 189. Now if I send that 63x to this side, it will become 21x is equal to 189. Then x value will be here how much for me? 9. X value becomes 9 and they are asking us the milk portion. Milk portion is 7x, it becomes 63 liters. It becomes 63 liters. So like this we can solve the problems for us. Okay, now next one. The ratio of milk to water, is 5:3. Okay, good. Milk and water is 5:3. 68 liters of water is added. Now here 68 liters of water is added. The ratio becomes 7:11. Yes. Please observe here students. After adding 68 liters of water, the ratio became what for me here? 7:3. Is there any change in milk in this case? Actually speaking, there is no change. Whatever the milk quantity which is there in the previous mixture, the same quantity will be there now also. But what is happening is the proportions were changed. Their proportions were changed. If you observe our last question, there it remained same both as 7 and 7. But in this case, it was changed from 5 to 7. Don't think that milk portion is changed. No, milk quantity remains the same, but the proportion changed here. So before solving this, try to equal the portions of milk here. How I can equal the portion of milk here? If I multiply this with 7 and I multiply this with 5. We know that we can multiply or divide any constant to any ratio. It will not affect our ratios. So now when I multiply it, what happens to my new values? 35 and 7 3s are 21. Now after addition of 68 liters, what happened to this? This became 35 and this became 15. Am I correct? Yes. It became 15. So this became 35. So the ratio becomes 7:11. Sorry. 5:3 and 7:11. That is the thing I am thinking. It should increase. Why it is decreasing? So it becomes what for me? 55. Now please observe here, students. From 21 to it came down to, it changed to 55. When it comes to my milk portion, it remains same. So that means what is the difference between these two? 34 parts for us here. So from this what I can say is 34 parts is equal to 68 liters. 34 parts is equal to 68 liters. What is our question? Find the new amount of water in the mixture. New amount of water means what is the new quantity for us in the mixture? 55 parts. Then 55 parts will become what for us here? 55 parts will become 110. Why? Because 34 twos are 68 and similarly 55 twos are 110. So the new quantity of water in the mixture is 110 liters. So the unchanged quantity, try to make them equal. Okay, then easily you will get the answer for us here. Next one. Rupees 5200 was to be divided among A, B, C in the ratio 1/3:1/4:1/2. But by mistake, it was divided in the ratio 7:4:15. The amount in excess received by C was, okay, see here students, actually A is to B is to C. In what ratio they should divide here? Actually speaking, they should divide in the ratio of 1/3:1/4:1/2. So our first goal here is to change them into the normal form. From P by Q form, we will change it into the normal form. How we can change? By taking the LCM of 3, 4 and 2. What is the LCM of 3, 4 and 2? We have 12. Right? So I will multiply each one with 12. So what happens to my ratio? 1/3 into 12 means it becomes 4. 1/4 into 12 means it becomes 3. 1/2 into 6 means it becomes, 1/2 into 12 means it becomes 6. So this ratio becomes 4:3:6. That means A, B and C should divide the amount in what ratios? 4:3:6. But by mistake they divided in what ratio? By mistake they divided it in the what ratio? 7:4:15. 7:4:15, right? Now please try to understand one basic concept here, students. Whether they divide in this ratio or they divide in this ratio, anyway they should divide the same amount, right? The same 5200. Either they divide in this ratio or in this ratio, the amount remains fixed, right? That means the total parts, the sum of all these parts and sum of all these parts should be equal to the same quantity. So whenever you see these type of questions, first of all, try to equal the total sums. What is the total sum here? 4 plus 3 it is 7, 7 plus 6 13. What is the total sum here? 7 plus 4 it is 11, 11 plus 15 it becomes 26. Now tell me, to equal the total sums, what I need to do in this case means simply multiply the first one with 2. So that 13 into 2 it becomes 26. Here also 26, total remains the same. Understood? So now what happens to my initial, that means actual one? Now tell me, A is to B is to C here becomes 2 4s are 8, 3 2s are 6, 6 2s are 12. So that means actually they should divide in the ratio 8:6:12. But they divided in the ratio 7:4:15. Now quantities are equal, right? That means total sum became equal. Now you can compare these two things directly. What happened to C? The amount in excess received by C was, what is the amount excess received by C here? Tell me. 3 parts. 3 parts he received, 3 parts in excess. He received 3 parts in excess. Now from where he has taken these 3 parts? Please observe here. From A, where he has taken the 3 parts for us here, if you observe carefully. From this B. Like this he has taken the 3 parts. 1 from the A and 2 from B. Like this, he has taken 3 parts from these 2 candidates, remaining 2 candidates for us. So, from what we need to see here, 3 parts, from 12 parts to 3 parts he has taken. Please see here, actually A should get how many parts here? 8, but after change he is getting 1 part less. Actually B should get how many parts? 6 parts, but after by mistake he is getting only 4 parts. So these 3 parts will be compensated from A and B together. A and B together. Now, so now these 3 parts, total is how many parts? Just now we changed it to 26 parts. 26 parts is equal to what? 5200. 26 parts is equal to what? 5200. If you observe carefully, 26 into 200 is 5200. Now I want how many parts? 3 parts. 3 parts will become what for me in this case? Directly into 200, that is 600 rupees. That means he will get an excess of 600 rupees here. Students, you should understand one basic concept here. Whether they divide in this ratio or they divide in the second ratio, that is incorrect ratio, in the both cases they will divide the same amount, right? So that means the total amount remains the same. Because of that reason, try to equal the total portions. Then easily you will get the answer. If you go with the traditional method, first of all you should divide that in the same ratio. In 4:3:6, what is the amounts you will get? You need to calculate for A, B and C, and similarly you need to calculate for A, B and C after, because of this wrong calculation, and then you compare the C amounts here and here. Like that you need to do, but if you know the shortcut, you can get the answer very easily. Okay, next one. A sum of money was to be divided among A, B and C in the ratio 1/4:1/6:1/C. Similar one, try to pause the video and try to solve it. Anyway, we will solve it here. Now A, B and C in what ratio? Actually they given 1/4:1/6:1/3. Directly I will take the LCM. What is the LCM of 4, 6 and 3? 12. So the ratio will become what for me here? 3:2:4. 3:2:4. In this ratio they should divide. But by mistake they divided in the ratio of A:2:B:2C as 7:8:12. This is correct and this one is wrong. Mistake means wrong calculation, right? So now what is the total sum I have here? 9. What is the total sum I have here? 27. 7 plus 8 it is 15. 15 plus 12 it becomes 27 for us here. So now what happens? This sum is totally 9, right? And this sum is totally 27. So now what I need to do? I need to multiply this with 3. When I multiply this with 3, now my correct one became what? A:2:B:2C. My correct one becomes what now? 3 3s are 9, 3 2s are 6, 4 2s are 12. Right? Good. Now, if B received rupees 200 excess, then find the amount distributed by A, B and C. Now they are telling that in earlier cases they given us the total and asked us to find the difference. In this case they given us the difference. What they are telling, this is the actual amount which is the actual parts which B should receive. But B received how many parts? 8 parts. Actually B should receive 6 parts, but he is receiving 8 parts. That means the difference between these two is how many? 2 parts. The difference between these two is how many? 2 parts. These 2 parts is equal to what according to the given question? 200. These 2 parts is equal to what? 200. Now, find the amount which was distributed among A, B and C. That means total amount. What is the total amount? 27, right? So 2 parts is 200. Then 27 parts will become how much? 2700. Why? Because into 100 here. So the same into 100 here. See students, those who are following our sessions, they can understand these things very quickly. But if you don't understand this one, take these 27 parts as X and cross multiply it. But it will waste a lot of time. So instead of that, try to find the relation either in this direction or in this direction. Then easily you will get the answers. Okay, try to find the relation in this manner or in this manner so that you will get the same thing. If you find it in this relation, multiply here. If you find in this relation, multiply here. Okay, next one. The income of A, B and C is 4:5:7. Expenditure ratio is 5:4:6 and respectively if A saves 25% of his income but B saves rupees 600. Okay, now they are telling that the income ratios of A, B and C are what? Please observe here. A, B and C. What about the income ratio? Their income ratios are 4:5:7. Okay, good, superb. and expenditure ratio is 5:4:6. Expenditure ratio is 5:4:6. Now, if A saves 25% of his income, okay, of his income, but C save rupees 6,800, then find the savings of B. That is the question for us. Now, we all know how we will write the savings usually. How we write the savings? Income minus expenditure. Don't say that, sir, income is 4 here, expenditure how it becomes 5 means. Actually, these two are two different entities. Okay, these two are two different entities. You should not compare these two things here. Okay, understood? We should take this as 4x and this as some 5y. And similarly, 5x and 4y, 7x and 6y. Don't take 4x and 5x. That is completely wrong. You should take this one in same entities and this one as another entity. Okay, don't compare this income with this expenditure and don't say that, sir, how expenditure becomes 5 parts if income is only 4 parts. That is a wrong perception. Okay, so this is different and this is different. Now see here, A saves 25% of his income, right? A saves 25. His income is actually how much? 4x. And his expenditure is 5y. So what is the savings in this case? Tell me. 4x minus 5y. This type of problems, the shortcuts we will use is very, very less. Definitely we should go with the traditional method only. Okay, there is no other choice. Sometimes we may have choices, but in this case we don't have any such choice. So 5x minus 4y, 7x minus 6y. Okay, now please observe here what they are telling here. 4x minus 5y is equal to, he is saving 25% of his income, right? 25% means what it becomes? 1/4. So 1/4 times of 4x. 1/4 times of 4x. So 4 will get cancelled. Am I correct? So now what happens here for me? What I will get here? 4x minus 5y is equal to x. 4x minus 5y is equal to x. This is from A. From A point of view, I am writing all this data. So when I send x to this side and 5y to that side, what it becomes? 3x is equal to 5y. So x by y value will become what? 3/5. X by y value will become what? Sorry, 5/3. X by y value becomes 5/3 for us. X by y becomes 5/3. Okay, good, superb, sir. Now they given us one more thing. C saves 6,800. C is saving how much? 6,800. That means 7x minus 6y is equal to what? 6,800. That is given in the question. Now try to write this relation here. Okay, try to write any value, either x value or y value, it is up to you. Substitute that one here. So tell me which one is the best one for us. If we substitute which one, we will get the answer quickly. Substitute that value, either 7x or 6y. So I will take x as 5y/3. I will take x value as 5y/3. If I take x value as 5y/3, 5y/3 minus 6y is equal to 6,800. Minus 6y is equal to 6,800 for us. So now what happens here? 35y minus LCM directly I will take here. 18y is equal to 68 3s are what you will get here? 68 3s are 204. 204 and 00. So now what is the difference for me here? 17y is equal to 204 00. Now 17 ones, 17 12s and 00. So y value will become what for me here? 1200. Y value is 1200. If y value is 1200, what happens to my x value? Y value is 1200 means x value becomes what for me here? 5 into 1200/3. Why? Because x value is equal to 5y/3. So this becomes 400. So x value will become how much for me? 2000. X value becomes 2000 for me here. X value is 2000. So that means x value is 2000, y value is 1200. Now they are asking us, then what is the savings of B? So what is the income of B? 5 into 2000, it becomes 10,000. So income of B is 10,000. What is the savings of B? 4 into 1200 means it becomes, sorry, expenditure of this one means 4,800, 4,800. So his savings now becomes how much? 5,200. Income minus expenditure is his savings. Income minus expenditure is his savings. See here students, 90% of problems we can solve with the logic or any shortcut method, but definitely there will be 10% of questions. where we cannot apply any shortcut. Sometimes if we try to apply also, it may create more confusion. So because of that reason, definitely we should know the traditional method as well as the shortcut method. Then only it becomes easy for us to solve. Why? Because whenever you see these type of questions, the chances to apply that shortcut is very, very difficult. You can apply, but you need to think a lot of things. Instead of that, if you go with the basics, that becomes easy. The calculation may look lengthy, but actually this is the best method for this type of questions. Understood? Next, we will see the next one. Whenever there is possibility of using a shortcut, we will use there. Else, we will go with the basic or the traditional method. The expenditure ratio of A, B, C is 4:9:5. So, A, B and C is what? 4:9:5. Okay, this is their expenditure ratio, remember. Okay, if A, B, C saves 20%, 25% and 16.66%. See here students, savings 20% means what I can write? 1/5. 20% is what? 1/5. Understood? 1/5. Next, what is 25% for me? 1/4. 1/4. What is 16.66% for me? That is nothing but 16 2/3. That means 1/6. If you follow our percentage videos, you can easily understand why I have written 1/5, 1/4 and 1/6. Okay, next, expenses and savings we have written. Now tell me, usually, how we will write our income? If you observe here students carefully, if savings is 1/5, what is his expenditure? 4/5. Am I correct or not? If his savings is 1/5, his expenditure, that means one part out of total 5 parts. That means his income is 5 parts, his savings is 1 part. Then his expenditure will become how many parts? 4 parts. Luckily here this is the same 4 parts. So what I will think is his income is overall 5 parts. In that 5 parts his saving is 1 part and his expenditure is 4 parts. Good, superb. Now when it comes for timing, we will put this aside and we will come next. Now see this C1. What is his savings? 1/6. That means he will save 1 part if he earns 6 parts. That is the meaning of this 1/6, right? So that means his expenditure will become how many parts? 5 parts. Luckily here what I have here 5. So that means I can take this total income as 6 parts. There is no wrong in that, right? Okay, good, superb. Now come to this middle one. Here there is a problem for us. What is the problem is, his savings is what? 1/4. That means he is going to save 1 part out of his total income, 4 parts. So from this what I can, if I assume that his expenditure should become how much? His expenditure here should become how many parts? 3 parts. 3 parts. But what they given us in the question, that is 9, right? For this 2 there is no problem for us. Luckily they given us the same values. But in this case, in the case of B, actually his expenditure should be how many? 3 parts. But that 3 parts is given as what here? 9. 9. That 3 parts is given as what here? 9. So to avoid this one, so how this 3 can be written as 9 usually? By multiplying it with 3, right? I can write this as 3 into 3. I can write this one as 3 into 3. Now I will apply the same concept here also. I will apply the same concept. So I will multiply the numerator and denominator with 3/3. Okay, 3 and 3. So when I multiply it with 3/3, what happens to this? 3/12. 3/12. Now check this one. His savings is 3 parts out of 12 parts. Then his expenditure should become what? 9 parts. Is it matching here or not? Yes, it is matching. Then I can take that his total income is 12 parts. Then I can take his total income as 12 parts. See here students, if they have given you directly, then you can take that one and you can solve it. But in some cases, they will not give us the values directly, something like this. Then in that cases, we should make them equal. We should make them equal and try to solve the problem. Now, the incomes are 5, 12 and 6. 5, 12 and 6. And expenditures are 4, 9 and 5. And savings also we came to know. Now, if the total income of A, B and C together is 4600, that means 5 parts plus 12 parts plus 6 parts. Total it becomes what? 23 parts. If total income 23 parts is equal to 4600, if total income 23 parts is equal to 46, find the income difference of B and C. What is the income difference of B and C for me here? 6 parts. If 23 parts is 4600, what happens to 6 parts for me? If 23 parts is 4600, 6 parts becomes how much? For us here is 1200. 6 parts becomes how much? 1200. Understood? Try to understand the concept here, students. See, first of all, we have written the expenses. They given in the question 4:9:5. And when it comes to the savings, they given it as 20%, 25% and 16.66%, which is nothing but 16 2/3%. I have written it as 1/6. Now, please observe the savings of A is 1/5. Savings of B is 1/4. Why? Because 24%, and savings of C is 1/6. 1/6. Now, if you observe carefully here, if I assume his total income is 5 parts, his savings is 1 part, then his expenditure is was 4 parts. Luckily here it is matching, so directly I have taken income as 5 parts. Now 1/4 means his savings will be 1 part out of 4 parts. That means his expenditure will be how many parts? 3 parts. But in the question they given it as 9. So how 3 can become 9? Usually 3 3s are 9, right? So I am going to multiply this with 3 and 3. So 3/12. Now it will match. See here, out of 12 parts of his income, he is going to save 3 parts. Then his expenditure will become how much? 9 parts. So 12 parts, it is matching. Next 1/6. There is also no problem for this one. So now the incomes will be in what ratio? 5:12:6. In the question they given the total income, that is 23 parts is equal to 4600. Then 6 parts will become 1200 here. 6 parts becomes 1200. If you don't know this shortcut, students, definitely it will take a lot of time for you to solve the same question. You will take that as 4x, 9x and 5x, and savings also you will take some other value, that means something like this. Please observe here, expenditures are 4x, 9x and 5x, 4x, 5x and 9x, and savings also the same thing. Savings is 20%, 25% and 16.66%, right? So the same thing. What you will take? 1/5 is to income, 1/5 of income. Okay. Their savings will be 1/5 of income, 1/4 of income of B, and 1/6 of income of C. And how we will write the difference for us? Their incomes, A plus B plus C. So incomes will become what? 4x plus 1/5 of I. Like this you need to write the equation and you need to solve the things, which is a huge task in general. Okay, so no need to worry, we will see the remaining things. Now, in a class, the ratio of students in first division, second division and third division are 5:6:7 respectively. Okay, after rechecking the copy, 200 students promoted from third division to first division and second division. And now the ratio became 4:5:3 respectively. Then find the total number of students in the class. Now, what is the actual initial ratio they given for us? A:B:C they given for us are, first division, second division and third division. Here A, B, C means first, second and third. They given for us are 5:6:7. Okay, good, super. But due to some corrections, 200 students from third one. That means after 200 students left from this, see, instead of ABC, okay, for better understanding we will write 1, 2, 3 only. First, second, third division, and similarly first, second and third division. So after 200 were promoted from 3 to 2 and 1, the ratio became what? 4:5:3. 4:5:3. Remember this one thing, students, this one is similar to our previous questions where the money is divided. Here anyway the total number of students in the class remains the same. Am I correct or not? So make sure that the total is constant. 5 plus 6 is what? 11. 11 plus 7 is 18. Now if you observe this one, 9, 12. So here the total is 18 and here the total is 12. So your first thing, the first and foremost thing which you need to do here is try to equal these totals. How I can equal these two totals? What is the LCM of 18 and 12? What is the LCM of 18 and 12? 36. 36 is the LCM of 18 and 12. So multiply this with 2 and multiply this with 3. Multiply this with 2 and multiply this with 3. So now what happens when I multiply it with 2? This becomes 10:12:14. And when I multiply this ratio with 3, what happens to this? 12:15:9. Now the both ratios became equal, right? I mean the total sum became equal. Here the total is 36, here the total is same 36. Now try to apply the concept here. Now after the rechecking, 200 students from third division was shifted to the first and second division. So how much is the fall in the parts? 5 parts, right? 5 parts. So 5 parts is equal to 200. Why? Because these 200 students shifted to division 2 and division 1. So 5 parts is equal to 200. They are asking us find the total number of students in the class. Total number of students in the class. So total how many students are there for me in the class? Just now we calculated 36 parts. So 36 parts will become how much? 5 parts is 200 means you will multiply it with 40. 5 40s are 200. Similarly multiply 36 with 40. Multiply 36 with 40, what you are going to get here? 36 into 40. 36 fours, it will become 144 and 0. So the total strength in the class becomes what for me here? 1440. 1440. So students, there is some change here, no need to worry. Okay, there is a wrong option. I consider this as 1440. Your answer becomes 1440 here. 1440. Okay, so 5 parts is 200, 36 parts becomes 4. So whenever you see this type of misinterpretation or recalculation or any changes happens, remember one thing, if the total is constant, that means the total number of students here in the initial is same and finally also the total remains same, right? So the portions, the total portions, try to equal them. Then easily you will understand the concept. See the money case also, we have done the same thing. So try to equal the total, then it becomes easy for us to solve the problems. Right, next one. The ratio between two numbers is 3:4 and their LCM is 180. The first number is, okay, good. This is one of the questions which we have similar type of question we solved in LCM and HCF also. But for your understanding, we will once again see here. Now the ratio between two numbers is what? 3:4. That means the two numbers what it becomes? 3x and 4x. As I have already told you, 3x and 4x means this x is what? HCF. While discussing our first session, we discussed this one. In our first session of ratio and proportions, we discussed about this HCF. Why it is called HCF and all those things. Go and watch there. So we know one more thing from the LCM and HCF equal to